power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up. Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down. But the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing you will do the job right every time without question. .320 Solar. Power up.
Just because I let it slide doesn't mean it isn't pulling on my heart until it's almost white. 'Cause I wanna let you feel strong.
The reality of the situation is you add Antonio Brown to the mix. He's better than all of them. He's better than all of them. And then you got Brady flat out balling.
I know I have a great opportunity here with him, with BA, and this organization, this team. So
Get play, man. Let's go. Let's be great. Hold one another accountable. Play for one another.
On second down and 10, Brady drops. Protection goes the deep ball toward the quarter end zone. Scotty Miller in it. It's got the ball. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Touchdown Tampa Bay.
Evolution. Sports Talk Television live here nightly. All Bucs report. It's the Sports Lab. I'm your host, Jimmy Wood, giving you something to think about on tonight's show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Will you shut up and be quiet? Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television here live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. I'm your host, Peter Blake. It's the Sports Web, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, Best of the Bay, of course, Cup of Ray, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Saints on Sunday Night Football. Can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers avenge that first week loss where basically, look, this team was going into it with no preseason, no training camp, and it certainly looks like right now this is a definite monumental matchup. What do you have to say, Tampa Bay Ray?
Don't want to go down 2 games to the Saints as far as losing both of them. Don't want to get swept by those fleur-de-lis Saints. You got to carry it into, then you made that great point, Peter. Going into that first game, we didn't know what to expect with the offense, but now 8 weeks in, now going on our 9th week tonight, we kind of expect to see some of that consistency, which makes this a different ball game. We don't look for TB to make that turnover to pick 6, still trying to discover himself. They're going to have more of an identity, but the defense got to show up also.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Bucs are going to try to go 7-2, they got helped out today by the Buffalo Bills defeating, of course, the Seattle Seahawks. So if the Bucs win this game tonight, and they have to win this game in order to really, this was the standard coming in. The Saints were the standard coming in. This is who you had to beat for your division. If you beat them tonight, not only do you control your own destiny by taking the NFC South possibly, but also becoming the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Right, because don't forget the Packers won in San Francisco on Thursday night. Right. They're definitely making a bid for it. So we've got to say, if you want to stay in control of your own destiny,
yes,
it starts tonight against New Orleans Saints over at Raymond James.
So how do we start off the Sports Web? Let's do it right. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I tell you what, let's go out to our second shot there, Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. What do you have to say about this matchup? Big time opportunity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tonight to not only try to win this NFC South and take firm control, but also be the number 1 seed in the NFC, right?
Absolutely, especially with Buffalo beating Seattle. It definitely helped them in their favor. All you have to do is win, and that's pretty much what the Buccaneers have been doing since they took that last loss of Thursday to Chicago after having so many injuries that game. So they're in full control.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see what happens at this juncture tonight. Of course, all eyes are not only on the Bucs and the Saints because this is for the NFC South theoretically, but also, of course, the quarterback matchup, Drew Brees versus Tom Brady. Of course, Brady moved ahead of him last week with all-time thrown touchdowns. So it should be very interesting. And that Brady, guys, wants to have a better game than he did in that first week where he had a pick 6, he had 2 turnovers, and that offensive line was really bad that day.
And one of the many storylines, right, going into the season, 27 Pro Bowls between these two, 7 Super Bowls, 6 for our guy, 1 for their guy. But still, we talk about, again, with Drew Brees and his shoulder this week and limited in practice. And we know that he's kind of getting near the sunset of his career. He might be looking for that graceful exit. So don't think that he's not looking for a point of motivation tonight against the Buccaneers. So you're looking at still, and the NFL has been very clear on this point. There are some up-and-coming quarterbacks that are making great do in this league. But this right here, this is the classic matchup of your 2 best veteran quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, going back to that matchup, 34-23, Blake, you would have to say this was probably, if not the worst, but one of the worst games by Donovan Smith. He's definitely got to be better tonight. It doesn't help, guys, because Ali Marpet is not going to play in this game, concussion protocol. But then again, Sheldon Rankins on the other side for the defensive line for the Saints is not going to play. So what do you think the impact of that's going to be, Mr. Blake Anthony?
Well, it kind of washes that out. Sheldon Rankins, one of the first-round pick a couple drafts ago, and Ali Marpet, Buccaneers second-round pick. So it kind of washes out that they're missing one of their star defensive players. We're missing one of our star offensive players. But the next man up, Joe Haig, should be able to be a plug-and-play guy. He appears to be the starter. It's going to be at left guard. If not, if Joe Haig can't play too well, then they will quickly move Ryan Jensen to left guard and put A.Q. Shipley in at center. So the Buccaneers have option because of depth on that offensive line.
Yeah, it comes down, and we'll have Philip Schwegler, our editor-in-chief, in just a little bit, just running a little bit behind, so Blake won't be alone. But we'll be rotating tonight. Blake will come up here. We'll be getting some of his perspectives, the winning angle. I mean, really some phenomenal breakdowns. Of course, we'll have Stephen Che of Barstool Sports with his breakdown of Carlton Davis. We'll hear from Tom Brady and what he thinks about this matchup. And then, of course, we're going to hear from you, hopefully. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Join the 67,000 following we have here on Facebook. Of course, we're going to be live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and that Bucs Report Twitch channel, which seems like it gives me a convulsion every time I look at the views because it doesn't have that many. It's probably your family members that are viewing it. We need to improve those views.
Uncle Mike and
that's what it is.
Inauguration team. Now that we've gotten through our 1,765th hour of election coverage this week, I think we're ready for some NFL football.
Absolutely. The other big story would have to be Mr. Antonio Brown making his debut with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's going to be the impact of that? Of course, Chris Godwin coming back from a finger injury, still questionable, so no word on that. But everything we've heard here, guys, is that Godwin is going to play in this game, and it's going to come down to pain tolerance. What do you think the impact of Godwin to this offense? And Blake, I know how you feel about Antonio Brown. So what do you think about the impact of both of these wide receivers to the offense?
Blake, let me ask you something, honestly. I'm not saying it happens. We've already had this discussion as we do all of our pre-production meetings we always have here before we go live. But would you be shocked, and I'm asking both of you, would you be shocked a la when Fournette was announced eligible for the game a few weeks back but never saw the field? Are we seeing Arians putting a thing on here where if he's got a player that's well enough that they could go, he's going to say they can go even if it means they're not going to go? Or does he really put him on the field and take a chance of another injury that could carry on the rest of the season and or into the playoffs?
I don't see him playing a mind game in this kind of this type of setting. This game right here is being considered as a playoff game. I can see both head coaches telling these players that there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. If you're injured, you can't play. If you're hurt, you can play. Everybody on both teams on both sides of the ball are hurt. It's just how much are you hurt where you can't play. And I think Chris Godwin doesn't want to sit out. Like Peter said earlier, it's a pain tolerance. He'll be ready to play, and he's going to get out there and try to produce the best that he can, along with Antonio Brown, should alleviate some of the pressure off of Chris Godwin. So I believe Chris Godwin has played with hurt fingers before, and he should be just fine coming out here Sunday night against the Saints.
And here's what we know, guys. We know how much of an impact Godwin makes to this offense because you could see it last week, and we've seen it throughout the season. So with him returning once again, you talk about rolling coverage to one side, you roll coverage to Mike Evans, you bracket him, and basically somebody's open. Possibly a Chris Godwin, possibly an Antonio Brown. And remember here, the last time Antonio Brown played the Saints, he went over 100 receiving yards, 14 receptions, really picked them apart.
And I know I'm speaking on behalf of the Buccaneer fans out there, but like Blake was saying earlier, I agree with you 100%, Blake. You're going to do what you have to do to win. There's no other scheduled events other than to win these games. But I still, talking about rolling coverages and getting big chest, I mean Antonio Brown out there. I would love to see Mike Evans start getting that 79 yards average a game so we can start at least getting him towards 1,000 yards for that 7th year in a row. Does it have to happen? Playoffs first, right?
Playoffs. So we got to play it. There we go. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
I knew you were going to
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
You kidding me?
Yeah, playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yes.
We'll be lucky if we win another game.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it can definitely become a reality here, Mr. Philip Swigler, our editor-in-chief. If the Bucs win tonight, they go 7-2, number one in the NFC, and they take firm control of that NFC South. Welcome to the Evolution.
Hey, thanks, man. Sorry I'm a little late.
That's all right. That's okay.
But yeah, no, definitely. I think this is going to be a big, probably one of their bigger games this season. Looking at how Carolina almost won today, that's another big matchup that we're going to see here next week, I believe. But yeah, definitely. If you want to take full charge of not only the NFC South, but the NFC, you got to beat the Saints tonight. And you're going to sit on top of the NFC tonight if you actually make that happen.
Hey, Blake, not only that, but then those Raheem Morris Falcons win their 3rd game in a row, too. So you're talking about we were nothing compared to the NFC least, but now you're starting to look at an NFC South division, especially with a few slips in the road a la the Seattle Seahawks today. All of a sudden, we're now starting to look like we're in the toughest division in the NFC, which means every game counts.
Now, guys, going back to the previous matchup and what you're watching right now is the Sports Web live on Bucs Report. Get on the phone lines if you want to talk to all four of us. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Of course, this show as always, is powered by 320solar.com. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, Cup of Ray, best of the Bay. How many times can I say it in a day?
Don't stop a body
You got
rock.
Blake Anthony, of course, of Sports Talk 49, and our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwegler, one of the best chefs I know out there. Drew Brees, you look at his statistics, 18 for 30, 160 yards. Nothing to write home about, but the difference between Brady and Brees is Brees didn't turn over the ball, and he also didn't get a lot of pressure, and that's the one thing, Ray, that the Bucs defense is going to have to focus on tonight, putting that constant pressure on him, because you want to force him to throw interceptions. Coming into this game, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So he's very difficult to get turnovers out of, but you got to do it tonight.
Don't forget, he's still one of the top 5 in the league in getting rid of the ball, Tom Brady being the first. And Drew Brees is not going to hold on to the football. But you get him hearing footsteps and the pressure up the middle, you can get him second-guessing himself. That does lead to holding on to that football. That does lead to sacks, could lead to turnovers, both in the interceptions and in the fumble game.
Let me ask you guys what you've seen from Drew Brees, both of you. Do you think he still has it? Somewhat of a shoulder injury this week. He didn't practice on Wednesday, didn't practice on Thursday. So realistically, if he takes 1 or 2 shots, maybe you can put him out of the game, and then you're dealing with Taysom Hill, and possibly, as crazy as it sounds, I got to say it, the return of Jameis Winston at Raymond James Stadium. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing tonight is going to be making Drew Brees uncomfortable. And like you said, maybe get that one hit on him, maybe take him out of the game for a while. But you got to forget, Sean Payton is one of the more impressive offensive minds here in football. And they have a guy named Taysom Hill, okay? The Bucs start giving him too much pressure, and Drew Brees doesn't have enough time to, throw the ball and make some leeway down the field or whatnot. You're going to look for some Sean Payton trickery, I guess you can say. Throwing some Taysom Hill in there and just really take the Buccaneers off their mark. And I think that's what we kind of saw last week against the Giants, Monday night against the Giants. They kind of took the blitz away from them a little bit because the ball was getting out so fast. So maybe that's something the Saints are going to look at, try to do here early in this game. But like you said, maybe that one hit, the extra pressure on Drew Brees, it might send this game towards a different way.
Blake.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, the Saints definitely were trying to hold the shoulder injury for a while. They put him on the injury report, then took him off the injury report. And Drew Brees did sit out a couple of days to rest his arm. It could be 1 or 2 shots. I don't expect him to go vertical much, anything over 35 to 40 yards. That's pretty much their offense anyway. But I look forward to them going underneath again, get Kamara going early and try to get the ball to Smith and those guys, and possibly don't know how effective Michael Thomas is going to be now that he's been activated since week 1. So I'm interested to see what kind of strategic game Sean Payton's going to play in this game, because one thing the Giants did have success on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was running no huddle. The no huddle offense kind of really stagnated their blitzes and rotational packages. That's what you do to a team that has packages and rotational players. So I'm interested to see what Sean Payton does.
Yeah, and Ray, coming back to you here, they talked about Michael Thomas returning. Bucs did a good job in that first matchup, only 3 catches, not even 100 receiving yards, not even 50 receiving yards. That matchup tonight, Carlton Davis versus Michael Thomas, and then, of course, Emmanuel Sanders coming back. So this is what you want. This is the kind of matchup Sunday Night Football wants. You want Brady versus Brees. You want Chris Godwin and Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore and Janoris Jenkins, who, of course, took it to the house versus Brady in the first matchup. You want Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders versus a Carlton Davis and a Sean Murphy-Bunting and a Jamel Dean. This is what you want. You want everybody on deck. No excuses at this point. So what do you think the impact could be of a Michael Thomas or Emmanuel Sanders? Or do you think this defense, even in that first matchup, did a good job, is actually playing better than they did in that first week versus the Saints?
Playing better, playing more consistently. But, the thing about the Saints and the Bucs seems like year in and year out, they cancel out Evans. We cancel out Thomas, and it seems like we go from there. Kamara being their wild card, but the Buccaneers carry into this game a completely unknown Buccaneer in Antonio Brown. Yeah. So that seems to be where the numbers game leans in the Bucs' favor. Don't get complacent. Lean in, stand up, because you still got to show up and do it, because the Saints aren't coming to play tonight. They're coming to play to win.
They're coming to play to win, guys. And, of course, the big-time weapon that you really have to worry about, to me, is always Alvin Kamara. He made an impact. He didn't go for over 100 rushing yards, but he doesn't have to. In fact, the last 3 games with Drew Brees at quarterback, because it seems like he's either dealing with an injury or dealing with a dead arm, 25 receptions. So you don't necessarily have to rush him from necessarily the running back situation. You can split him out. The will route, hopefully we don't talk about that. And the screen really scares me. So how do you guys see that matchup with Kamara versus possibly a Devin White and Levante David, most likely 2 of the best linebackers in the league?
Yeah, I think that's how you stop this, is you put a Devin White on him the entire game. Well, maybe not the entire game, but you make sure you have that spy on Alvin Kamara, especially if Michael Thomas isn't 100%, which it really doesn't sound like he is tonight. From what I've been listening to and reading and everything, he might be on a little limited play count or whatnot. And then you also have Emmanuel Sanders coming back from injury also. So that's another thing you got to pay attention to. But the biggest thing is you got to stop Alvin Kamara with those linebackers, stop those screens and all that crazy crap that he does underneath. And then you got to pay attention to Jared Cook too, because that's another buck killer right there.
Yeah, Jared Cook definitely is a guy that they like to use in the red zone. But Kamara is their guy. But they've been finding a way to win without Michael Thomas for weeks now with the rest of the cast that they got on offense. I expect, as always, Drew Brees to be a West Coast quarterback in this game, everything underneath. I believe the Bucs, I mean, I don't know about spying Kamara, because he's going to get into space. You just have to make those tackles into space. You cannot allow any extra yardage after catch and just pretty much limit their offense. And then the most important part is try to get Saints to turn over the ball on offense.
You know, and to back up Phil on what he said on both points. One, Sean Payton looking to create those mismatches and using his offensive genius. But guys, even in the game last week on the wheel route that Devin White had the coverage on, he had great coverage on that receiver. That ball was laid
looking up. I mean, it wasn't looking back. It was good coverage, but it was a perfect pass. And it's one of those things where the Bucs have to work on that type of stuff. And gentlemen, we've kind of talked about how they played against the Giants. They won a close one on Monday Night Football, 25-23, but they committed a lot of mistakes in that game, and they were very fortunate that if they have, let's just say, a Drew Brees out there, he picks them apart for 2 or 3 touchdowns. So you really have to correct some of those mistakes, and you have to come out and have a fast start, much like you did in the first matchup, and you got to continue that. You really do.
100%.
Yeah. I was listening to the Scuttlebugs podcast like I do every week. I love those guys that cover it down there in Tallahassee. They do all the Knowles games and stuff like that, and they're on the ESPN radio. But they were kind of talking about hinting that maybe the Buccaneers were installing stuff on the Giants, possibly not taking them as seriously as they should have possibly. But you saw, Tom Brady kind of look a little confused sometimes on this past Monday on exactly what they were trying to do. And they're really forcing the ball to, I think, Jaden Mickens. I think he was the most targeted receiver with the most catches at the end of that game. So if you're a conspiracy theory type of guy, I mean, that's something you can really think about. But I think they're trying to make way, trying to figure out how they're going to fit an Antonio Brown into this game. So.
That's a good way of thinking about it. Maybe, I don't know. It's just, it's possible that they could have done that. It's a good way to think about it. Thinking of it outside the box, it's pretty cool thinking of it that way. Mickens definitely had some opportunities to make some more plays, especially on that one crossing route that Brady, I guess, overthrew him or they didn't connect. But he could have sat down there and made the throw easier for the quarterback. But there was a lot of times that Brady didn't look like he trusted the receivers to throw the ball, and we tend to know that Brady won't throw the ball into certain coverages and stuff like that if he doesn't trust the wide receivers. That's why you see sacks come sometimes, because Brady's obviously not fleet of foot. Yeah. He's going to outrun anybody either. But
the coverage sacks.
Yeah, coverage sacks pretty much, and he's not going to force balls to guys that he doesn't trust. But I think the Giants just came out with a decent game plan. Yeah. Honestly, I have to give credit when credit's due, and they definitely had their chances to score a few times on that defense from staring in the backfield and bad coverages and things like that. So I'm sure Ty Bowles and these guys talked about that and watched the tape just like most of us have and looked at it and tried to fix those holes.
And I talked to you guys earlier about this in our group chat, but I really like the matchup with Carlton Davis and Michael Thomas. I mean, you look at what Carlton Davis has done this season against those number one wide receivers. He hasn't allowed more than 62 yards. And some of those games they were targeting the number one receiver 12 times with only maybe 5 or 6 catches here and there. So that's going to be definitely the talking point there. opposite of what Jamel Dean can do if he's playing that opposite side corner, if Sean Murphy Bunting isn't on that starting role, I guess you can say tonight.
Hey, one last point on last week's game. And I know we covered it last week, but don't forget, Joe Judge had a little bit of familiarity with Tom Brady. He actually played with him for a cup of coffee in New England, or coached for him in New England.
Right.
So give it to him for putting it. But then credit Tom Brady and that Buccaneer offense for, again, being consistent enough to get that victory with Ryan Suckup, the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, with 4 field goals and one extra point.
Yeah, Ryan Suckup, Special Teams Player of the Week. I mean, guys, we could talk about that really quick. Let's go out to the webheads, read some of these comments from these guys, and of course, open phone line. I don't know why it's so quiet right now. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. Of course, we got Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Swagler.
Hey, guys, Peter, I just wanted to say,
yes,
kind of tongue-in-cheek here with Tropical Storm Ada down there just coming up on Key West, and we're going to have a little weather here. Look for the big winds tonight, but look for some of that rain. Not going to be a huge factor in the game, but it's going to be wet out there at points with some bands. But again, you said, why is it so quiet? It almost feels like the calm before the storm.
I love it. There you go. Good stuff. And that's why you're my co-host. Let's go fire those cannons. We shall. All right. Let's go out to Jonathan. No negative talk, no bad energy, no doubts. Game time, baby. It's a Bucs life, says Jonathan. Solar Bear does it better. Panels weren't even lined up properly. I don't know what that's all about. But we are powered by 320solar.com.
I've seen them line them panels up pretty dang good. They line it up.
Boom, 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 says Jonathan right there. One hell of a commercial, says Edward. Hell yeah, says Peter. I think they're talking about, well, we'll get back to that in a little bit. $50 haircut. I tell you right now, you got to pay for quality if you want quality. So we'll talk about that in a moment. This game is essential to our future. Absolutely. LFG says consonants. Milo says Bucs 27, Saints 24. Jason says a little long intro. No, I mean, do you want us to go and do it off of our cell phones? We can go ahead and just do it like that. Or we can play an intro, play commercials, and get paid for it and actually act like it's a TV show.
And someone said 27-23. I just wanted to go ahead and say, my guy,
they want it so fast. They don't want to wait for it. You don't want to anticipate it. You want it so fast.
Well, I'm getting old, Pete.
Right. Let it marinate a little bit, my friend. Let it marinate.
He said Bucs 27-24. Interesting you should say that. The line was 4.5 as of yesterday. Today it's moved to 3. So the money's starting to go towards the New Orleans side. They teased it that way. People are playing it that way. The Bucs to win by 3 may not be a bad call, but let's hope for a lot more.
Yeah, and long intros. You're still here watching. Go Bucs, says Jason. Jonathan says that game was a scrimmage. Laugh out loud. Real talk. Milo says if you want to be a champ, you gotta beat the champ. Edward says I'm excited, but every game I am worried about. Jason. Edward Kirby, right? Jonathan, for real. Joe, let's get a win. Go Bucs. Good stuff there. Jonathan again. Keep the Bucs great. Let's go Bucs, says T. Thank you very much for tuning in. AB is going to fit in wonderfully. I think that's for my big story tonight. I mean, look, if Chris Godwin isn't 100%, and we know Mike Evans necessarily isn't 100%, but he always has problems with Marshawn Lattimore in the first matchup. Only 1 catch for 2 yards, I think a touchdown, but that's about it. And that's always kind of been their matchup. Lattimore seems to always give him difficulty. If you roll coverage to Evans, I think that's going to free up a Godwin, and I especially think it's going to free up a Brown. And everything that you hear from Coach Arians with the practice this week, he looks fantastic. That's never been a question about Antonio Brown.
No, he's always
been talented.
He's always bringing it. And you tell me there's not, and it's not because he's wearing red and pewter tonight over at Raymond James Stadium, but how many players in this league, Tom Brady in that exception, can you say are at the very top of that will pay to see them play? Antonio Brown? Forget about this guy. He's the one reason I loved the Raiders last year in Hard Knocks. And he was only on there in a limited capacity because he's having trouble with the helmets and some issues. I said today on Cup of Ray, he's had some issues. He's worked through these things. Now he wants to come and play. God, I can't wait to see the way Arians is going to fit him into the no risk it, no biscuit system.
Yeah, and we're going to definitely I'm going to get Blake on here. You're going to go back to the game room there and hang out.
Darts.
Yeah, we were play some darts and hang out with Philip Schwegler, our editor-in-chief. We're going to get Blake on here. He's going to do his breakdown of the connection between Brady and Brown here in just a little bit.
Let me bring up one point real quick on the whole Marshawn Lattimore getting the best of Mike Evans here. You look at Marshawn Lattimore this season, I think he might be one of the highest penalized cornerbacks in the league. I'm not sure exactly what the statistic is, but you see him maybe thinking he's getting beat. He's not confident in his ability, and he's pulling a lot of PI penalties. I don't know if that's something you guys have noticed, but that's something I've definitely noticed, especially going against Mike Evans. And back into week 1, I think he had 2 against Mike Evans. So that's something to watch tonight. See what happens there.
No, that's something. You're exactly right. And look, if the big time key is what? You can't let Brady get under pressure, because in the first matchup, 5 sacks, 8 quarterback hurries. This defense is 28th in the NFL. So if you can keep the pressure off of Tom Brady and let him give that time to him, which you need to give him, every quarterback, he can pick you apart. And this defense is absolutely susceptible, right, Blake?
I'm sorry. I was going to say Rankins is out, right? So why not put Rojo and Fournette? Why not let Rojo hit the middle until that defensive line starts to tire down, and then you let Haig and the rest of the boys settle in and do what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the defense here, Blake and Phil, is definitely susceptible. You bring up a great point there, Phil. And Marshawn Lattimore doesn't look like the same player.
No, I agree with Phil on that. I think everybody forgets that penalty stats, because they just look at yardage. Yeah. I'm like, if he got a pass interference penalty that was worth 45 yards, who cares that it doesn't come up as a reception? Point is, it was a penalty on a pass play that could have been caught. There was actually 2 of them in that first game. But do they have great matchups between the two? Yeah, that's what they drafted and paid Marshawn Lattimore to do. What the Saints like to do is leave. I know you guys mentioned bracketed coverage. The Saints don't do that to Mike Evans. They usually just run single man coverage on Mike Evans with Marshawn Lattimore and man everybody up. And the reason they do that and just leave one single safety high, which will be Malcolm Jenkins, is because they don't believe any other receivers can get open. What they did in the week 1, they actually doubled on Gronk. They literally had a linebacker and Charlie Gardner-Johnson. As soon as Rob Gronkowski released from the line of scrimmage, they both double tackled him and held him there. So what they saying is your other receivers cannot beat us. That's basically what they said on defense. But now you plug in Antonio Brown, you go ahead and run that man-on-man coverage on Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown's going to go for eight receptions, 120 yards receiving, and possibly 2 touchdowns if you do that.
Yeah, and that I mean, honestly, looking at this matchup and looking at the week 1 matchup, I don't think you can really compare them. I mean, this is week 1 with no offseason, really, with no preseason games, brand new quarterback and a brand new system, getting used to his weapons. Now you have a team who has literally gradually, as the weeks have gone on, gotten better as an offense, really starting to understand what guys I can trust, what these guys can do. And now this is two totally different teams. If you ask me, not just on the Buccaneer side, because we understand how all that works with the defense playing as well as they have been playing, Tom Brady and the offense being 22 for 22 on goal to goes. I mean, that's ridiculous. But I think these are 2 totally different teams. You can take some things from week 1, but I think this whole matchup is totally different. You have to kind of go into the game thinking that way, I think.
Yeah, no, you bring up a great point, guys. Let's go back out to the webheads here, read these comments from these guys, and then we'll get back to you in a moment. Let's see. AB is going to fit in wonderfully. Jonathan says, smooth sailings all the way through. Too many weapons, plenty of ammo. Antonio, it's a finger. He will be fine. Jonathan says, you heard right. Big playoffs. Stop playing. Jeremiah says, everyone, hello. Let's go Bucs. Jonathan says he's squeaky. I don't know what that's all about. Who's squeaky? Drew Brees is squeaky. Hope they put in Winston at least 3 picks. Ha, 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 says Jonathan. Milo says, Hill isn't a starting quarterback in this league. He's a guy who can do a bunch of things well. He's a product of Sean Payton's scheme. Agree. Don't forget about AB. We haven't. We talked about him, and Scotty Miller. Who could forget about Scotty Miller, who is the leading receiver on this team that really nobody talks about but just continues to get it done. I'm pretty sure AB already knows the verbiage and the routes from his time with BA and Pittsburgh. I concur, says Jeremiah. Misador, think we will see a lot of dime man under. Let me go to our man right there. Blake, do you think we'll see a lot of dime man under, says Misador?
I know Misador messaged me and was talking about that dime man under. It's just, the dime coverage isn't something the Buccaneers have been running particularly all season. It's just not their strength. I say you taking – and if he's saying dime, that means you're running one linebacker and running another safety or extra corner on the field. And if you're taking that means you're taking Levante David or Devin White off the field. I think all of us here in agreement that's not your strength of your defense. Taking one of them off the field to put in Who? Mike Edwards
Yeah, no, that's your sideline to sideline guys. You need that, especially going against an Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, but I get what Misador's saying, but I don't think they do that this game, especially knowing that Drew Brees isn't going to throw anything that often over 40 yards of passing. Everything is going to be pretty much underneath, crossing patterns to the back, get the ball out of his hands quickly. I think you need to play a little underneath style and try to get. What they really need to do is get to Drew Brees more this game than they have in the past and force him to make mistakes.
But guys, how do you do that? Because look, we all know about Todd Bowles and his defensive scheme where you're blitzing, but if it's 1-2 and then out, what do you do? Do you start to squat on those routes? Do these corners like a Sean Murphy Bunting and a Carlton Davis start to squat on those short routes and force Brees to throw deep? In your opinion?
I think you and I, when we watch games together, you see me tell you all the time what I see in this situation. These players, they're young, but I wish I had, everybody says I wish I had the knowledge I had then as I do now. It's just when you're in a game and you know certain situations or where a receiver lines up, there's only a certain amount of things you can do in the situation, what can hurt you in the defense and what can't. So you know what route you can gamble on and what route you can't gamble on because you don't have help in a certain spot. That's why I make those predictions so quickly before a play is snapped. And these players are slowly but surely learning it and being aggressive and things like that. But I don't recommend letting him throw deep. I mean, they're going to have their chances. They're going to see single coverage. You're going to see Drew Brees throw balls to Cook when he's one-on-one with a corner because Cook is fast, is big, and is physical. But you just have to capitalize. If you get a chance at a turnover, you have to secure the turnover. You can't let it go through your hands and drop because you're trying to run with it. Secure the turnover, let the offense do their job, and score touchdowns.
And another thing real quick on the defensive side of the ball, what the Buccaneers need to do, and correct me if I'm wrong here tonight, but I think they need to start with a four-man rush, maybe send one later. But you don't want to put all your pennies in the bag or whatever the saying is right at first, because then they're going to start to figure you out early, and then they get in a rhythm. And the worst thing to do, or the worst thing to have, is have Drew Brees in a rhythm tonight. So I think they need to rush those four guys, maybe three, see if they can get pressure with three guys, maybe send an extra guy here or there every once in a while. But I'm not sending the whole blitz package right there in the beginning of the game. And I think that's how you can really keep Drew Brees off his high foot or whatever you want to call it.
You asked Peter.
Go ahead.
But when you ask how do you do that, you have to run disguises. You have to disguise what you're doing. You can't telegraph that you're blitzing. Because if you do that, we already know what's going to happen.
Bucs are good at that. They definitely are very good at that.
They're getting better at it. I've seen Antoine Winfield try to do that, but he got beat. I've seen Mike Edwards do that. They try to disguise what they're doing, but they have to be sound and get back. If you're going to do that, you've got to get back to where you're supposed to be if you're going to disguise what you're doing. And so I expect to see another sugar blitz type of coverage. If you don't know what sugar blitz is, that's basically putting the safety down over the nose tackle and putting the other guys down. They ran this once already. They try to confuse the quarterback and then send four guys, but you don't know where the four are coming from. So I expect that to happen. But Drew Brees' offensive line is really good, not allowing interior pressure because everybody knows he's not running. Yeah. So the worst you can hurt him is through the middle and up the middle gaps, just like Brady kind of. It's just that's where they're going to have to get penetration, running stunts, loops, and just everybody just has to do their job today. If somebody else messes up, let them deal with that, but everybody has to play their coverage and do what their assignment is.
Hey, Blake, I'm glad you mentioned that because we go back to that first week 1 in New Orleans, and Antoine Winfield almost had his first interception right there in the Big Easy. And that's why you go after the ball hawk from University of Minnesota, the former Golden Gopher, is to have a guy to offset the throwing NFC South with the Ryans and the Breezes and, of course, the Bridgewaters. I look for him to be a big – because he can come up and make the hit just as solid as he can hawk the ball down. I look for Winfield to go big tonight.
You're absolutely right because it's going to be on the back end as it always is, but it starts in the front end. And, of course, William Golston coming off the reserve COVID list is a big-time deal. So they'll have him for the game. But looking at that Giants game, Blake and Phil, do you think they're going to be more prepared? Because if you look at the Giants, you turn on the film, a lot of quick passing, a lot of what the Saints do. I get it. The Bucs saw that the first week, but now because they saw it now 2 times in a row from the Giants, do you think they're going to be more prepared for it in this game?
I definitely do. I definitely think Jamel Dean spent a good amount of time with Todd Bowles, especially after that Monday night game of when to turn the hips and, and how much to actually give the receiver, allow him to go. Because, you watch the tape, there's quite a few deep bombs that
Should have been caught.
Yeah, should have been
Should have
caught.
been caught.
Those were touchdowns, and then they were gone. No safety help over the top or anything. So I definitely know those guys were definitely in the film room. You know, if I'm them, and I was in the film room at 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever crazy time Todd Bowles shows up. But it's definitely going to be what opposite side cornerback can keep Emmanuel Sanders out, or whatever receivers on the opposite side. Because like I said, I really think Carlton Davis is going to be able to handle the Michael Thomas or whoever he's going to be covering tonight. But it's definitely going to be in that opposite side corner. Who covers who and what can they do?
All right, let's go back out to the webheads here, read some more of these comments. What you're watching right now is the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. Of course, we got Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, Monday and Fridays exclusively here on Bucs Report. And one of the best chefs I know, our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwegler, on with us. The OGs are in the house and running things here with our sports swag, if you will. And Leonard Fournette says Jeremiah. Let's go Bucs says Harold Joe says suck up is great, but we need touchdowns. Agree. Ozzy says
you don't want to chase points either. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we've seen Buccaneers teams in the past chase those 3 points throughout the entire game, and that's why I think Ryan Suckup is definitely one of the biggest weapons on this team.
Without him Monday night, they don't win.
Exactly. So,
no,
sorry.
you're exactly right. And I'll tell you right now, Ray, you talked about this in the offseason. We talked about it with Matt Gay, the drama, the difference between the Giants game from last year to this year is that your defense couldn't get off the field. They blew an 18-point lead. And then on top of it, you were not able to convert field goals at critical times. 4 for 4 for Suckup, including a 38-yarder to go ahead. And they never look back. And
now,
it's so important.
Well, the top 3 kickers in the NFC, Carolina, New Orleans, Tampa Bay. We got the top 3 kickers in the NFC, and you think that, again, Martin Grammaticas pointed out before that kicking towards the south end zone is tricky. I think we all kind of make fun of that because we're like, oh, come on, it's Tampa. It's nothing like New York or the Meadowlands. But tonight, with Tropical Storm Ada, I'm telling you, there's 25-mile-an-hour gusts out there, or at least 25 knots. It's going to play havoc with that ball, and that's why it comes down to a kicking game. You're still going to get a great game. You got the two or three best kickers in the entire NFC.
And we don't really know, guys, what the conditions of the game is going to be. It's going to be windy, possibly like you talked about, squall lines. When you get a tropical system and it's off the Gulf, wherever it wobbles, if it wobbles to the left or the right, depending on where it goes, you start to see squall lines. So at some points in the game, it's clear. At other points, it's not. And you kind of wonder, with both defenses being good against the run, you're going to have to get into those situations where they're manageable, and field goal and special teams may be, once again, a big deal. Even with the win situation, you feel good about Suckup kicking that critical field goal. A lot better than you did with Matt Gay last year.
And all of our Bucs fans, all of our Bucs Report followers, if you're not watching, if you're not here in the greater Tampa Bay area, or you're in any part south of here on this great peninsula we know as the state of Florida, I can tell you right now safely, I haven't seen the latest, like the last update, but if this were Saturday night and then tomorrow night was the game, it probably might have been, it could be on the cancellation list. And I'm not saying because it's going to get so hairy here, but when you've got a tropical depression, even with Tampa Bay and the Gulf of Mexico, the NFL looks at that and says, hey, we can deal with COVID-19. We can deal with this, but we can't have this kind of weather. I'm not saying it's going to be like that during the game tonight. I'm glad it is tonight, and the storm is still far enough south that we can still get this show on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 65 miles per hour, I believe, going northeast at 14. So there you go. That's your latest weather update here on the Evolution. You guys didn't think I was a meteorologist.
Roy Leap. I'm Scud.
Well, I'm a Dick Fletcher guy because I interned at WTSP Channel 10. So if I'm going to be anybody,
we used to roll with that. Yes, sir.
The Tampa Bay sports broadcasting legend, Mr. Alkek. 40 years of sports broadcasting experience. I got to get it in there.
Always.
Ozzy adrift in the Bay. High seas getting scary. Hope I don't lose TV power. Statement game tonight, fellas. Absolutely. Jeremiah says, Mr. Big Chest, Peter. Absolutely, Mr. Big Chest. Everybody, kind of giving me stuff about it, and I've been very clear. I'm going to give it an opportunity, especially with Brown living with Tom Brady, Coach Arians saying that he's matured. We've got some comments from Ryan Shazier, who's been his former teammate. We'll get to in a little bit, but I'm going to give it a chance. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but at the end of the day, you understand the talent, and you also understand not only Tom Brady signing off on it, but the situation where you don't have all your wide receivers. You haven't had your full complement of wide receivers all year long. So at that point, if you can get a talented wide receiver that knows your offense and has chemistry, why not? It's $2.5 million. He gets out of line, you cut him. That's it.
The Bucs just keep on winning that. We've been doing it since March, and I'm not going to, we're not looking to gift horse in the mouth. We're saying, let's roll with this. Megatron, Calvin Johnson, DK Metcalf, Seattle. Antonio Brown may not quite have that height, but you're talking about such a physically gifted athlete who brings it every time he steps out on the field. This guy does not know how to step across the lines and not bring it. And now you're putting him on this team, and Tom's taking him under his wing. If this guy ever had a shot, this is the shot that he had that had his best chance at it. Let's do this.
No, absolutely. Okay, we'll read these comments, and then we got our special guest co-host here, Christina of the Tampa Bay BAE Sports Network. We'll have her on in just a little bit. We'll put you guys in the lobby, but let's read these comments, see what else we got from the webheads here. Keep Breeze off the field. Stop the running back, key for the win. Absolutely. Harold says must-watch game tonight. Absolutely. Gary, time to put our stamp in this division. A win tonight will make a huge statement. Ozzy, Leo Haggerty has gone below deck to stabilize the vessel. If that's true, then we're all in trouble.
Ships ahoy.
That's the Titanic right there, if that happens. Of course, Leo was around when the Titanic went down.
Well, he helped build it.
But he got off, right. He got off of it.
It was
right.
1910. It was a hell of a year, but they built a great ship, and 4 years later.
Oh, geez. Marshawn Ladderless. Meestador says, I would actually take a lineman out and run a third safety. Ozzy says, Ozzy, the sports junkie here, Rift in Tampa. Water's getting higher. I just sent Leo Haggerty down below to check the water line levels, hoping to not lose power or on our black and white TV set for tonight's matchup. Stay safe there, Ozzy, okay? I think David will shadow Kamara. Casey, hey, you're all. If you're just tuning into my live, we're not going to your OnlyFans. I was thinking about creating an OnlyFans for the Sports Web. I'm kind of happy with Bucs Report and not the OnlyFans thing. Casey, thanks a lot for tuning in. We appreciate you. I don't know where the hell you're from. Your mother. I'm looking for a long-awaited payback for that punk Sean Payton for years of disrespecting an opening day pass option with Taysom Hill up 2 touchdowns. Meestador says, Blake, that comes from chemistry. You have to trust your exchange point in a zone. You have to know the man next to you, know his responsibility. Everyone needs to know the down and distance tree. Tim, Cowgirls ahead by 10, end of the third quarter. A shocker right there. The greatness of Garrett Gilbert, of course, AAF fame, the Orlando Apollo starting quarterback today.
And I hate to say it again, we said Allison. We love us some Allison. Of course, she covers the Pittsburgh Steelers for the USA Today. And you can see her with Blake Anthony by the week, and she's fantastic. The two of them are so great together. But when she posted earlier, when they announced that Garrett Gilbert will be getting a start today, she goes, well, he may regret that. And I'm like, oh, those are the famous last words. You don't say something like that. Of course, they didn't put that on the locker room in Dallas. But, of course, Garrett Gilbert, he's been for 7 teams in the NFL. He's basically a 5-year veteran, and we covered him with the Apollos, and we love that kid.
Yep, absolutely.
It was fun covering him, too. I mean, he made those games interesting. Definitely made them interesting.
He really did. He absolutely did. All right, let's go back to the webheads here. Keep on reading these comments, and then we will get out to Christina there. I really haven't seen many line stunts from Bulls. Am I missing something? Not at all. I don't know. We have to worry about Kamara on the will. Absolutely. Flatten the will. Me says Bulls will make the adjustment. Dean surrenders his cushion very late. It may be from looking to the quarterback or just he trusts his speed too much. Tim says, suck up as the new Automatica. Knock on wood. Knock on wood, please.
Always.
There we go. Thank you. Meestador.
Every
There we
time.
go. Thank you. Dean is still a damn good corner. Milo, if it's a wet, windy game, I like our run D and our backs. Let's see.
That.
Sand says Evans, Gronk, Godwin, and AB needs 100 yards tonight, not to mention Rojo, Jeremiah, Shut Ray, live in South Dakota. I don't know what the hell that is. Thanks a lot, Jeremiah. I think you've had a little bit too many there. If you don't think AB and Brady have been talking playbook all season, you're crazy. Most likely they have. Christopher Cole says, hey, guys, what's up? Jeremiah, I love the Blizzard country. Is it too early about having the number 1 seed? Not at all. Not at all. I thought Leo built the Ark. I thought he did too. Goodness gracious. I love it. I got to fire the cannons on that, me. Good stuff.
I want to point out that we're actually 48 minutes into this show, and we haven't had one Leo word yet. So it'll happen. It's inevitable.
It'll absolutely
inevitable.
Happen. Well, there you go. SAT word. I live in Blizzard country. All right. Guys, let me put you in the lobby really quick. All right, we'll bring you back in a moment. In fact, Blake, go ahead and come over here to the big desk. We'll break down the Brown-Brady connection. Ray, you go over to the game room and keep Mr. Phillips Quagler company, all right?
I'm not going to, yeah.
Just get over here.
I'm knocking
You
on
know
wood,
what?
Phil.
I-
That's a playback to last
I
week.
really don't understand you sometimes, but I'll see you in a little bit, all right?
You got it, brother.
All right, buddy. There you go. Actually, you know what? You wanna, yeah, go ahead and go do that, and we'll get Christina Bay on here. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? And of course, we're looking at this big time matchup. Christina from the Tampa Bay Sports Network, BAE. What are you looking at this matchup tonight? Bucs versus the Saints. This could be for the division crown. And you also have the return of Antonio Brown. Welcome to the Evolution.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, this is a big game for the NFC South. This determines who will be on top of the NFC South, who will get that, who is going to be in the wild card at the end of the season, and who is going to be, the number one. So I'm looking at a really close game, and I think the Bucs are going to take it this time. It was a disappointing loss in game one, but I definitely think this time is for the Bucs.
All right, and of course, you're the co-host of Buck What You Heard, which can be seen and heard here exclusively on Thursday and Fridays. I think you're on Thursday's edition right here on Bucks Report. Never got your thoughts about the AB situation. Do you think it's going to work out? And in your opinion, how much of a talent is he, and how much of an impact is he going to be on this offense, in your opinion?
I think he is going to work out really well for this, for the Buccaneers offense. You know, him and Tom Brady have a strong connection. Byron Leftwich and AB have a really good connection as well. I think we have a new I think we're seeing a new Antonio Brown. He's not the troublemaker that he used to be. He's definitely changed. And I think we're going to see him go off today in tonight's game. You know, it's going to go down to who are they going to cover. The Saints aren't going to know who to cover. So I think Antonio Brown is definitely going to perform very well tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the matchup last, and we got Blake Anthony on there. Don't be fooled. That's not Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. Welcome, Sports Talk 49 himself here. And he's going to get into this matchup. We're going to get into that film. But, it's never been a question, Christina, of talent on the field. It's always been off the field. But you have to basically, give it an opportunity, because not only has Tom Brady signed off on it, but it seems like Bruce Arians has kind of changed the tune, right?
Right, absolutely. I know at the beginning of the season when Tom Brady came on, he was like, I want Antonio Brown. And Bruce Arians said, absolutely not. He did not want that at all. But the fact that now, I think they're meshing and grooving, I think Bruce Arians was open to the idea. And maybe he saw some changes in Antonio Brown that Tom Brady vouched for him. And I really do believe, Tom Brady can take him under his wing. Tom Brady is a leader. He can change people. And I really do believe that Antonio Brown has been changed. We can only hope that. We don't know yet, because it's only his first week playing. So we can only hope for the best.
All right. And we're on with Christina of the Tampa Bay BAE Sports Network here on the Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, powered by 320solar.com. Brady coming into this game, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Christina, are you surprised of how well he's played after the start he got off to in week 1 versus the Saints?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely surprised. I was I was not optimistic after the first couple of games with Tom Brady. I was thinking the same things that everybody else was thinking. He's just a system quarterback. He's just a product of Bill Belichick. But over time, we have seen him come into his own, and he's becoming his own person. And him and Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich are working very well together to create their own sort of offense. Tom Brady has had a lot to do with Byron Leftwich's offensive play calling. So I really am super impressed and super excited to have Tom Brady on this team, and just to see them coming so far from where they were the first couple of games. That's why Tom Brady is here, because he is a leader, and he does make champions. He makes star players, like we've seen Scotty Miller has become a star. Nobody knew his name before this season, unless you were a Bucs fan already. So Tom Brady is the ultimate quarterback. He eats, sleeps, and breathes football.
Yeah, he's absolutely an ultimate competitor. You bring it up. You have Drew Brees on the other side. It seems like he's seen his best days. Even in that first matchup, Christina only threw for 160 yards. And coming into this game, he could be hurt. So to me, I think this is the matchup where the Bucs have to get pressure on him. How do you see? Well, what's a matchup you see in this game that the Bucs should focus on, or Bucs fans should focus on against the Saints on Sunday Night Football?
So we're definitely going to have to watch Alvin Kamara. So as everybody knows, Alvin Kamara is a huge threat. We do have one of the best run defenses in the league. So that front seven is going to do a really great job of containing him. In week 1, we didn't let him get over, I think, like 60 yards. So that's not a big deal at all. And I think we'll see the same kind of outcome. We're going to be able to shut Alvin Kamara down. Levante David and Devin White are going to be watching him and going to shut him down. We're not going to let him get over 100 yards. It's just not going to happen. And then also you'll see a lot of pressure on Drew Brees as well.
All right, tell me this. Give me 2 players out of this game, offensively and defensively, that are going to be standouts versus the Saints.
I definitely think Devin White is going to be the standout for the defense. He's going to get a lot of pressure, probably a couple sacks. And for the offense, I want to give it to Mike Evans. I think what's going to happen is that everybody's going to be, all the offense or the defense, the Saints defense is going to be so confused, not knowing what to do, not knowing who to cover. And that's when Mike Evans will finally get open and not be double covered.
What about this, Christina? Do you think Antonio Brown will have an impact tonight, even with him being out of the league for a year and a half, because he knows Tom Brady and he's worked with Coach Arians in Pittsburgh? Do you think he'll have an impact tonight?
Oh, I definitely think he'll have an impact. I just say that Mike Evans is going to have like a breakout game because of the fact that Antonio Brown is here. And I think we'll see a couple of good passes to Antonio Brown up the middle, and then maybe even for a couple of touchdowns. That would be really great.
All right, good stuff. And let's go back to the Giants game really quick. Any concern about that? Because they started out flat. Their secondary was beat a couple times by wide receivers. And if you have a Drew Brees quarterback out there to expose those weaknesses, most likely it could be a different game where the Giants win. But obviously the Bucs win. So any concern, Christina, coming into this game versus the Saints, or do you think the Bucs will be ready for this matchup on prime time?
Absolutely. The Bucs have started out flat the last couple of games, really bad and really flat. And it's very concerning to see. I think being at home on Sunday night with some fans in the stands is going to electrify these players, and they're going to have some more energy than they're used to having, than they usually have in other games. For example, when they did play the Giants, they were flat all first half, and that's something that we cannot do today because the Saints will run all over us. So that is definitely a concern, having the secondary and the defense specifically being flat. The secondary is really young. A lot of people like to trash on them, but they do have some of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're exactly right. And they played like that. Jamel Dean last week wasn't necessarily that great. Blake, right, of course, and he'll break that down in just a little bit. But overall, Carlton Davis had an interception in that second half. Sean Murphy-Bunting had an interception. So in your opinion, do you think these young corners can handle, once again, a Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders?
Oh, absolutely. Carlton Davis, I don't think is going to have any problem defending Michael Thomas at all. The problem with Jamel Dean is he does get beat a lot because he is young. But what happens is he learns from his mistakes very quickly, and he turns around and he can cover, and that's when he gets his picks. And that's why he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league right now. A lot of people like to trash him because he does get beat, but it is when he does turn around and he learns from his mistakes that he makes those big plays.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So let me go ahead, first and foremost, get your prediction, and then I want you to promote yourself because you got a lot of fans here on Bucs Report. So what's the prediction? Bucs versus Saints. Who wins and why?
All right, so I'm going to say the Bucs are going to win 31-28. They're going to get a lot of good touchdowns. Brady's going to be on fire. We're at home on Sunday night. I see the defense going to get a lot of pressure on Drew Brees, maybe even knock him out of the game if he's already injured. And so definitely Bucs on top.
All right, Bucks on top, and go ahead and promote yourself there, Miss Tampa Bay.
Yes. So I am Christina, and I run the Tampa Bay Sports Network. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Tampa Bay Sports. That's Tampa BAE Sports. I cover not only the Buccaneers, but all sports in Tampa Bay.
All right, good stuff. Get out here to one of our remotes at the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. We got wings waiting for you, all right?
Absolutely. Sounds great.
All right, good stuff. Thanks a lot, Christina. Appreciate
Thank you.
All right, there you go. So that's what you get here on the Evolution. We got Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. No concern about them coming out a little bit flat. You think they'll be ready? Bruce Arians will have this team ready, right?
Everything doesn't always go as planned all the time. I'm not worried because I've seen this team bounce back after that Giants game. You could have the absolute worst start, and you still found a way to pull that thing out. But everybody wants to see everybody start out fast. If it don't, I'm not concerned. I'll be satisfied with this team learning as this game goes and just correct mistakes early if they got to. But it'd be nice if they come out early. This team, if you're asking me, they will be ready. They're focused. I think they're ready to go, and I think the Buccaneers will be fine starting out this game.
Absolutely, and they're going to have to. They're going to have to definitely come out and have a good start like they did in the first game. And that's the crazy thing about it. They came out, scored a touchdown on the first drive. Of course, Brady into the end zone for the 1-yard plunge. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like after that, the Saints kind of took over. So you've got to play, again, a full 4 quarters of a game. And the Bucs haven't necessarily been able to do that this year. Even in some of their blowouts or their big wins, the third quarter has been their undoing, and you can't have that type of quarter versus a good team like the Saints, because at the end of the day, the Bucs talent-wise may have more talent, but still the Saints have the experience, and they're still the division champs from last year.
Absolutely. You got to beat the Saints in the division. They've been the bully for a long time now in the division, so they definitely got to dethrone the NFC South champs. And you can't always say the third quarter has been their doom and gloom. I said the Chargers game was one for a fact. They came back in that game, and after getting the spark at the end of half and coming on and went on the offensive onslaught in that second half of the game. It's like you said, I think that part is the most accurate, is playing a full 4 quarters, but that's imperfect football world that everybody plays all 4 quarters. But as our motto stands the same, it's not how you start, it's always how you finish.
Absolutely. Okay, we got Tampa Bay Ray and Philip Schwegler. We'll get out to them in a moment, but let's go out to your breakdown here with Antonio Brown and Tom Brady. Go ahead and intro this.
Oh, the Brady-Brown connection
and
disconnection?
Yes.
It's the thing we're going to look at this game. Again, you're getting a test against a good secondary team. You're going to either get one or two things, and I show both. You're either going to get Brown and Brady real connected in the game, or you're going to see a disconnect. And we're just going to go through both and see what both wide receiver and quarterback are thinking on plays.
All right, there you go. Blake Anthony with his breakdown. Here we go on the Sports Web, the Evolution Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of My Perspective. Today, we're going to talk about Brady and Brown connection or disconnection, depending on continuity. In this first clip, we're going to show here Antonio Brown and Tom Brady are on the same page and make a great completion, and Antonio Brown is able to get separation from the defender. Antonio Brown's got about a 7-yard route, gets the DB to backpedal and makes a great outcut. Tom Brady holds the defender by looking his way and is able to get the ball out into space near the sideline to Antonio Brown, while Brown making great separation for an easy catch and a first down. On this next play, Brady notices that the Dolphins have a bracketed coverage on Brown by a corner and an inside defender. Brady's able to hold the defender in place while squeezing the ball out to Antonio Brown on a perfectly timed route. Brown gets separation. Brady gets the ball out early enough for Brown to make an inside move and get around the first defender while picking up extra yardage. On this next play, Brady and Brown have great connection on display and continuity. Tom Brady notices a single high safety with man coverage across the board. Antonio Brown runs an excellent route, running up the seam, getting the defender exactly where he wants him for Brady to place the ball to his outside shoulder, where Brown is able to give himself space for Tom Brady to throw the ball there while making a catch inbounds and getting his feet down. Defender has his back turned, does not see where the ball is placed. Brown is in full advantage here and is able to make a great routine catch for a touchdown and his first in his New England career. We'll look at it again from another angle. Again, Tom Brady and Brown, great connection on this play. Tom Brady makes the calls, notices that it's man coverage, takes the snap, knows exactly where he's going, places the ball perfectly in a spot where only Brown could get it. Brown already sees the ball. Defender cannot locate the ball, and Brown is able to make a great catch inbounds for a touchdown. We talked about some of the good, so now we got to talk about some of the bad. I said Tom Brady and Brown are not on the same page on this particular play. So with that being said, Say got the same look that they had earlier. Brown is in the slot. Brady knows the single high safety, makes the call, and is going to throw the same outside shoulder throw to Brown that he threw earlier, but Brown is looking inside instead of looking outside. There's a miscommunication. Tom Brady throws the ball exactly where the ball is supposed to go. Brown is looking for something on the inside, and ensuing of that, it was an incomplete pass. We'll take another look at it from another angle here. Tom Brady makes same call before. They got the coverage they want. Looks right where he wants to go, drops the ball where it should go, see where the ball is and where Brown is looking. There's a miscommunication there somewhere, and Brown's not where he was expected to be. Here's another not connected play here. Brown is singled up again, as I showed earlier. I said Brown is able to get an outside release quick on the defender. Brady sees again that Brown has him released. Brown is expecting a ball on his outside shoulder near the one. Brady somehow throws the ball short and expects Brown to come back and get the ball instead of throwing the ball over Brown's shoulder for an easy walk-in touchdown, and there's some type of miscommunication there.
All right, good stuff. Welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. So going back to that, what do you think we see more tonight, connected or disconnected?
I think everybody Buccaneer fan would like to see connected,
right?
Because you're gonna get that man coverage look, and the guy that's gonna be on him is none other than Charlie Gardner Johnson, aka the Spit Man.
Well, Chauncey, you mean?
Chauncey. Oh,
yes.
Me, Chauncey Gardner
from the Gators. Yes,
yes, that's right.
Yes,
yeah, aka the Spit Man that everybody.
Not Charlie Gardner. That would be the former running back that didn't do much with the Bucs.
Yes,
but they did with the Raiders.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes,
he was way past his prime.
He was.
But that was
John Gruden's specialty.
And then Tim Brown, but that's a whole other conversation. Oh, Lord of mercy.
81. Oh, there you go. 81 Tim Brown, 81 Antonio Brown. I have a feeling that they won't be the same. I have a feeling.
I think the speed difference will definitely be different.
Well, definitely. And I think the impact, because there's a cup of coffee for Tim Brown. You're not going after Antonio Brown.
And I love Tim Brown. If you're watching this, Tim, I love him.
In his heyday.
I love Tim Brown.
In his heyday, yes. Hall of Famer. But Antonio Brown right now is still in his prime. He can still make an impact. So if you're an offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what do you do to basically expose that defense, which we talked about, 28th in the league? So they're definitely susceptible to the pass. What do you do to get an Antonio Brown open?
It's two things. As you guys know, what we talked about before, and now we add Antonio Brown. One is exposing the linebackers in coverage. I don't think Quan's not playing, right?
No, Quan's not playing.
Okay, so
does he ever play?
Well, he misses tackles when he plays.
Well, he misses tackles,
especially
misses
in the
coverage.
Super Bowl.
I mean, he's equally awful in every facet. I mean, I'm sorry. I've got to be honest with you.
I got one for you. He is the defensive version of Jameis Winston. Can make outstanding plays and then just make some bonehead plays.
Sure, we've seen him. We've seen him. You know, when his brother passed away, he played one of the greatest games as a defensive player against the Falcons.
He looked like he was defensive player of the year.
And I've never seen him play that type of game again.
Never again.
And it's disappointing, but he was all over the place. And now you look at Devin White, who's definitely going to be in this conversation with Kamara. And here's a player that is light years ahead of Alexander. I get it. You get Alexander, and he's ahead of what you got. But I don't know if that's necessarily improving your defense.
Nope, it's not. If the Saints feel that they've got something out of him, taking on his large cap number as well while they're already in cap penalty, then God bless you. I hope it works out. Well, I actually don't hope it works out for you because you're in the same division as the Buccaneers.
Well, the Saints always got a large cap number. I mean, they're the biggest cap in the NFL. I don't know where they got their money at. It must be under their bed.
Yeah, under the
mattresses, right?
Between the mattresses,
Every year, it seems like they're in cap hell, and somehow they're able to make trades and sign players.
Right? It's nonstop plethora of Leo World.
Plethora. Look at you.
Plethora of pickups, but
bringing it tonight.
It's to take advantage of the linebackers. Actually, make Demario Davis covered, which he is not good at all. I said, and with Antonio Brown, beat Mr. Gardner Johnson. Beat Chauncey Gardner Johnson. I keep saying Charlie.
Yeah, don't say
Chauncey
Charlie.
Gardner Johnson beat him in coverage.
Easy for you to say.
I know, right? I seen Scotty Miller beat him vertical, but Antonio Brown is a much better route runner than Scotty Miller is, and I think you're going to have to. That's the matchup is going to beat. And then with that, you're going to have to force them to come out of that man coverage with them on Mike Evans, as Miss Christina said earlier from Tampa Bay Sports. Then Mike Evans should have chances to get across that middle and get other plays if that happens.
Absolutely.
So that's something to look at. Look at that matchup between Antonio Brown and Mr. Gardner Johnson.
All right, let's go out to the guys there in the game room. Welcome back. There you go, Mr. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. I mean, Antonio Brown, how much of an impact tonight in your opinion? Is it feasible, Leo Word, I think, for him to go off in this game like he did a couple of years ago versus the Saints?
Well, the thing about it is he's already had an impact already in the defensive scheme that the Saints have had to put together this week because they've been looking at it all, and they don't know how the Bucs going to use him. Do we ever see Antonio Brown on a field with a Scotty Miller? Are we going to go 12 personnel but work to get him open on the outside or coming across the middle? So he's already had an impact. Hoping it's a lot more of an impact, but if I can for the fans at home, let me just paint the scene from here at the deck, Bar and Grill at Isla. I got Philadelphia Freedom by Elton John and the karaoke out on the front deck here. We've got all the televisions covering the 4 o'clock game, guys. Of course, with Seattle losing to the Buffalo Bills today, right, and the Packers having already won at San Francisco Thursday night, the Buccaneers with a win tonight. Can you imagine Week 9 going into Week 10, and we're in a 3-way tie for the lead in the entire NFC division?
Right. I got to ask you something. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but who's your new co-host? Is that Red Bull? Is that who that is? Oh, look at that.
It's Mama Bull and Baby Bull. And you know what, Peter? You know me. I'm full of bull. So, you know.
You're definitely full of B of S right there. All right, guys, let's go out to the webheads here. And you say that this is not a relationship show, that we don't bring people together. Of course we bring people together. You just brought Red Bull and I don't know who the hell that other
Mini Bull.
Oh, there we go. We got somebody else on there. Now there's a new co-host. That's not
Puff Daddy, guys. You know this guy, Mr. Puff. This Mr. Rob Puffer, good friend of mine.
What's up, everyone?
Coming a regular here to the Deck Bar and Grill for our Buccaneer game watch parties, bro. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Ready for a good football game. We'll see what happens tonight, man. It's going to be interesting.
You know, I've covered before that you do work for the St. Petersburg Police Department. I don't want to get too far out there, but you know, we're keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Ada as she moves into the Gulf of Mexico. And you say it's going to stay kind of calm. Nobody's predicting anything yet. The cone of uncertainty does have us in it now, but you're thinking we're going to be okay. It's going to skirt us. We're going to get a little late season tropical weather.
Yeah, we're going to get some tropical weather. You're definitely going to have the rain. The thing is, when I was looking at that track, the way if it kicks up north and goes north of Tampa, that with the way the storm goes, it's going to kick in water, which means shore acres and low-lying areas are going to get some excess water.
Knocking on wood again, brother. But
hopefully, but that's probably what's going to happen.
Because I might not have you on here again later because we're kind of switching it. We're shifting it around like we do here at the Bucs Report. But we got a prediction for tonight's game. What do you think?
Tonight it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a high scoring game because of the wind and everything. I'm not sure if it's going to be a passing game or a running game, but you know, anything with Brady and Breeze, I'm thinking 42-32.
Wow. Hey, I like that. It's 52 points. The over under is 50. So that would put them over and that would put the Bucs 12-point victor. Correct?
Yeah. We'll see what happens with it.
You better be taking the Bucs.
I'm better taking the Bucs.
Back to you, Peter.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. So there we go. As I don't know what's going on there, so we'll get them. Yeah, it's crazy like that, absolutely crazy. So we'll try to get them back in here. Let's read these comments from the webheads. Is she new? She kind of is. Jeremiah, you haven't been here for a while. What's her name? Christina is her name. Let's see, Deshaun. We're gonna get after it today. Let's go, Bucks. Joe says Christina Misador. Jeremiah is perving the dish. Laugh out loud. What's her number? Laugh my ass off. Good evening. Go Bucks. 35-21 Bucks. There you go. Says Mike. Me. We gotta force Breeze to bet them. Shut down the run and screen game. Will Route says Jason. Gotta hope we learned. Jake says the Bucks report needs to censor a bunch of these perverts. I don't think they're being perverts. I just think they're into
something really bad.
Nobody really said
Otherwise we
anything
would.
there, Jake. So it's 2020. Relax a little bit. Everybody's having a good time. I think he's interested in the new correspondent, and that's okay. She's very attractive, but she definitely knows her sports, and she brings it here. Is 14 activated? Do we have anything latest on Chris Godwin?
Yeah, he's playing.
He's playing. So there you go. There's your latest. AB 4 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Tim, we held Kamara to 80 yards under his season average. Hopefully, we can do the same tonight and keep him out of the end zone.
I agree.
Let's see, Jake. I have a concern with all these perverts in the chats. I don't know why you're so concerned about that unless you're a pervert yourself. You have to think if Antonio Brown messes the opportunity up.
Yeah.
Okay. The last chance with a track record. So let's see how humble he has become and show his gratitude by keeping his nose clean and hopefully having a major and positive impact for us down the stretch. Joe says nobody is being a perv. Chill. Misador says Bucks play to their competition. Mike, how fans at the game tonight? They do have fans there. 34-28 Bucks win in overtime, says me. Yes, she does have my vote. Stavros Mamarenos. I used to be the producer of the Greek radio show in a radio station in a galaxy far, far away. He says, bravo, Peter. Thanks a lot, my friend. Guy has been in the radio business for 50 years, so I appreciate you. 50 years, my friend. Absolutely. Very talented man, does Greek radio. I'm not going to mention the station, so you just have to find out. It's time to put the Saints to bed and assert ourselves into the first place in the division. Gary says, I'm picking the Bucs, hopefully not in a nail-biting fashion. Be nice to win convincingly. 34-27, go Bucks. Joe says Bucks 28-17 over the Saints. Me, if Kamara is held in check, the Saints or the Taints will struggle to move the ball. Jeremiah, Thomas can't be covered by us Bucks fans, just saying. But it's funny, Jeremiah. Michael Thomas was covered by the secondary, was he not? And namely a Carlton Davis. In fact, I tell you what, let's go ahead and get out to Stephen Che of Barstool Sports. He had a brilliant breakdown of Carlton Davis in the game versus the New York Football Giants on Monday night on the Evolution Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, powered by 320solar.com. Enjoy.
Carlton Davis has quickly turned into an elite cornerback in this league, and he's making his case to be in the Defensive Player of the Year discussion. Let's take a look at Monday night versus the Giants. His familiarity with this defense is really showing, and he knows the blitz is going to free up Shaq Barrett for a one-on-one against the tight end. He's funneling Golden Tate to his help. He's got a linebacker inside and a safety over the top. He can also see Shaq getting closer, and he's got the receiver. He's hedging his bets here, and he thinks it'll be short, and he guesses right. It's thrown right to him, and he gets his league-leading 4th interception. And he is definitely a guy who studies tape because he's making a lot of great calculated risks. Here he's on a tight end. The guy isn't even 4 yards off the line of scrimmage. He's peeking in on the quarterback as he takes his hand off the ball to start his windup. Davis already has his foot in the ground and is breaking on the ball. He's just watching Jones the whole way. And we can top that. The next play, he's in off coverage about 9 yards off. Jones hasn't even started his windup yet, and Carlton Davis is already breaking on the ball. That is insane. It just goes to show you the preparation he's doing. He knows where the ball is going before everybody else in the field. He gets a great break here, and the ball is high, and he's able to get in there and break it up. Rewinding it back, you can check out that at game speed. It's just so impressive, the extra work that Davis does to get an edge. And here in the slot, he's in press and realizes the grouping, and he sees Jones square up to the receiver. He fights to get under that, and even though Shaq Barrett took care of it and got a PBU, Davis was all over this one too. If that went through, he'd definitely have a shot at his 5th interception with nothing but green turf in front of him. And on this one, he's got a deep third, and he's staying on the receiver in front of him as long as possible before transitioning to the receiver, breaking down the middle of the field. Davis saw it the whole way, and he takes away 2 reads for Daniel Jones, who's got to flee the pocket and run. And he's so on top of his assignment, he's helping teammates get sacks. Check this one out. He's manned up at the top of the screen. He's in phase the whole way and does a great job squeezing that red line to give the quarterback no window. Daniel Jones has nowhere to go, and JPP cleans it up to get the sack. Carlton Davis is playing outstanding football right now and absolutely should be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Thanks to Stephen Che of Barstool Sports here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony. We got Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwegler, and the other shot there. We'll bring those guys on in a moment. But you look at Carlton Davis in this breakdown, and Jeremiah says, I don't think, and there's a lot of fans that felt like this before the season, and then you look at the matchup and you look at the maturation, Leo word, of where Davis is right now and how he's made some plays that he wasn't making last year. You definitely think he can handle this matchup versus a Michael Thomas, right?
Yeah, he's really aggressive, and the key part of all that is he's not leading the league in penalties as he was a year before. He's learning how to disguise putting his hands on people better. He's still doing the same thing. I can 100% guarantee you that. He's still grabbing people. He's just hiding it a lot better.
Right.
That's what the good corners do. You got to hide it.
All right, so let's not hide these guys. Let's get them on here really quick. Let's go to that wide shot there. Guys, let me ask you this. Carlton Davis, the breakdown by Stephen Che, Jeremiah, and a lot of fans feel this way. Do you think he can handle the matchup? He handled the matchup the first time with Michael Thomas. Now it seems like Michael Thomas is coming back healthy. He was a little bit hurt in that first game. So can this secondary, namely a Davis, handle that matchup versus a Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it at least like maybe 35 minutes ago. I definitely do. Excuse me. You kind of seen the progression of Carlton Davis over this third year now. As the season's gone on, he started out really aggressive, green behind the ears, all that. Really trying to figure out what kind of defensive back he wanted to be. And now this season, I think he's kind of putting it all together. Okay, I can be aggressive, but let me be smart about it. Let me throw my hands at the ball instead of throwing my hands at the receiver and trying to prevent him from catching the ball, all that kind of stuff. So we're kind of getting this full circle of what Carlton Davis can be and what he has been all season, because I already talked about it. He's held most of these receivers down to lower 50s and 40s and total yards from receptions.
And the thing about it is that, like we were talking about Sean Payton earlier, the offensive coordinator or the coach, for the New Orleans Saints, these coaches and these offensive coordinators, they spend every waking moment and then sometimes non-waking moments dreaming up schemes to get guys open. But when the Bucs have been burned, even on the wheel routes this year or on the passes we talked about last week with Daniel Jones and those New York Giants, it isn't like all these receivers are always wide open. These players like Carlton Davis, these guys have to remember, play big. Don't face guard. Don't jump all over someone. But if you're going down, you saw it last week, classical on that Mike Evans catch. The defender watched, and Mike Evans is really good usually about giving away when the ball's arriving. The defender realized they were getting near the back of the end zone, and the last second put his hand just in a position, no face guarding, but to knock the ball away. You can be in position and play long, not face guard, and still make the play. And I think that's what these young defenders are starting to do as they're starting to learn how to play defense at the NFL level.
And the biggest part is for any secondary, any secondary in football is play to your assignments, okay? Play your zones. Don't get caught outside of your assignment or outside of your zone, because that's when the big play happens, all right? Especially with the safeties. The safeties bite on something. There's nobody back there to cover whatever receiver's running down the field. So that's going to be the big thing tonight, because Drew Brees, he'll see that. And right there, the ball's down, that's a touchdown. So that's going to be a big thing for the Buccaneers tonight. Play your assignments and play smart.
Let me ask you this, Phil, because I've been wondering this all day, and I wondered it earlier on Cup of Ray. Do you think, and I didn't say it out loud, I was wondering in my head, there's a lot of things going on up there, but it doesn't feel like this is the last time these two see each other this season. Doesn't it feel almost inevitable that we're going to see the Saints in the playoffs at some point?
In the divisional round or something. Definitely, unless we start to see the Saints just decline after this. If the Buccaneers do pull out the win, kind of break their spirits a little bit, which, of course, that's what you want. When you're rooting for the Buccaneers, you want to break the other team's spirit, especially when they play in your division, especially when they have won the division, the past several years, and they've been that one team you just can't get to, So, they definitely could, and this could be the kind of precursor for something more exciting here in January.
Drew Brees has been with the Saints since 2006. He's had 16 years now. He's basically ran this division. A lot of the Buccaneers, a lot of the the pity or pain they had were self-created. A lot of management decisions, a lot of coaching changes. But now we've got the only guy in the NFL who has more Pro Bowls than Drew Brees, happens to be Mr. Tom Brady under center in Tampa Bay. Let's get out there tonight, avoid the season sweep, and continue to stay on top of the NFC South.
I agree.
All right, good stuff, guys. And let me go ahead and put you back in the lobby there. We'll come back to you in a moment. I want to hear what Tom Brady has to say about facing a Drew Brees, don't you? Here on the Sports Web, the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a call really quick, and then we'll go on to that. Welcome to the evolution. You're on with yours truly, Blake Anthony, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, and, of course, our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwegler. What do you have to say? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Ed from Palm Harbor.
What's going on, Ed?
I'm good. How's it going, you guys?
Going good, buddy. We're live here from the Deck Bar and Grill. I'm kind of wondering why you're not here, why there's not more Bucs fans here, but go ahead. I understand.
I don't know. I don't drink anymore, so I don't
Well,
know.
that's okay. You don't have to drink. I don't even drink either, so.
Root beer for people.
Yeah, root beer for me. Root beer and, Sprite.
Anyways,
Yes.
who's replacing Malpet?
What now?
Who's replacing
Joe Haig.
Malpet?
Joe Haig is going to replace him, and he's played in some of those packages this year where they've, gone very, jumbo package, if you will, which would Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy would say. And he's been successful, and he's been able to be a starter in this league. Now, it's going to be a challenge for him to be at that left guard spot. And like Blake, you mentioned, they could shift Jensen to the left guard spot and play Shipley at the center position if it doesn't necessarily work out in their favor. But then again, here, Ed, the Saints are going to be without Sheldon Rankins on that other side. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
That
Yes.
works out. That definitely works out. So I'm hoping that what I'm really hoping for is to see some maturity from Mike Evans, because in the first game we didn't see that. He let the Saints get in his head, and he got pissed off, and he started slapping DBs around, causing him to get personal foul penalties.
Sure.
Yeah. You definitely need that, not that to happen.
Well, there's
That's pretty-
Ed, there's always this built-in rivalry, if you will, between the Saints and the Bucs, and the Saints have dominated this series, and now it comes down to the Bucs taking that next step if they want to be one of the great teams in the NFL. And we keep on talking about it. Stack those wins, win a division game, especially versus the champions of last year. And you're exactly right. Mike Evans cannot afford to let Lattimore in that defense, especially a Gardner Johnson who has spit on people and done some really rude things to get into wide receivers' head. The Bucs have to play a smart game tonight. They have to cut down on the penalties. They can't make mental mistakes. It goes back to football 101. And, of course, the main thing is you have to protect Tom Brady. 5 sacks, 8 quarterback pressures in the first matchup. It can't happen tonight. You got to give Brady time to throw the ball.
Yep.
So, what else? Anything else? Prediction?
That's really about it. So I guess Godwin is going to play, but and AB's gonna play.
Right.
And,
Right.
But yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So what is Drew Brees' status? I heard he had an issue.
He'll be playing in this game, but you're exactly right. Didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. I believe limited practice because of a shoulder injury. He did practice Friday, so it looks like he's good to go. But
What shoulder was it?
his throwing shoulder.
Good.
I mean, and look, this guy, I think he's seen his best days. I don't necessarily I don't think he has the arm like he used to. He's throwing the ball 5 to 7 yards. If I'm the Bucs young corners and as aggressive as they are, I would squat on those routes tonight and look to intercept him short. Force Drew Brees to throw the ball down the field. That's not to say, blow coverage like Jamel Dean did last week. Don't do that, but force him to throw the ball deep down the field and also force him into throws that he doesn't want to make by getting pressure on him. You got to get more pressure on him.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, prediction
All right,
time.
well,
Bucs versus Saints. Who do you think wins and why?
Oh, I think the Bucs are going to win because they're at home and they have been able to split the Saints in the past.
Okay.
By winning at home and then losing away.
Sure.
With them. So I think because they're at home, I think they're going to beat them 31-20, something like that.
Okay. All right. Good stuff, man. Appreciate the call. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you. There we go. And we'll see you after the post-game show, all right? There we go. Good stuff. All right. So let me go ahead. Let's go out to Tom Brady and his comments and the significance of facing a Drew Brees, who are 1-2 right now in all-time throwing touchdowns in NFL history. And hold off on the call. We'll hold off on the call right now. Let's go out to Tom Brady here on the Sports Web, the evolution of sports talk television, powered by 320solar.com. Here we go.
Well, I think, we've both been around for quite a while. So, he's a great quarterback. He's been so productive over a lot of years, and especially at the Saints. I was competing against him when he was at Purdue. The two of us were playing each other. I played him at Michigan. He's been a hell of a player, and known a lot of guys that know him. Played with a lot of guys who've kind of been to the Saints, and then I've played with my college, my roommate when I first got to the pros went to Purdue, Dave Nugent. And so just heard a lot of great stories about him over the years, and just kind of watched how he handles himself on and off the field. And he's just an impressive guy. So I have a lot of respect for him as a player, as a person. And, we're both close to the end, and we are the beginning. So, I think we both still, enjoy being out there on the field with our teammates, playing, competing. And it's going to be a very competitive game Sunday night.
All right, there you go. And I think the words that I took away from it, let me bring the guys back on here from the game room. You guys are muted for some reason, so let me unmute you. There we go. You look at those comments, guys, and you hear Brady, and he's played with Brees for a long time, and they know and he knows that this could be the end, especially for Brees. So Brady wants to do everything he can to basically show that he is the greatest quarterback of all time and wants to make up for that week 1 performance versus the Saints in that loss, right?
Yeah, well, and Phil and I were talking about this is off subject, but why is it all season, every Tom Brady interview, whether it be pregame or after practice or postgame, looks like a confessional on Big Brother, or like we were saying, taxi cab confessions. Can you adjust the camera or maybe put the camera inside the screen so they can lock? I mean, we're talking television production 101, but Peter, actually, I wanted to say, I agree with what you said, but Phil's also got the inactives for tonight if you wanted to give us those, Phil.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen most of these already, but Ryan Griffin's out. Justin Watson is kind of the weird one for me. I thought he may have gotten the play over Tyler Johnson, but that bodes well for Tyler Johnson. I think they really like what he's been doing the past few weeks. Running back Keyshawn Vaughn's inactive, so that means they're going with Leonard Fournette. They're going with Shaden McCoy and Ronald Jones tonight. So, and then of course Ali Marpet and Khalil Davis. So those are your inactives for tonight. Like I said, the only weird one I thought maybe Justin Watson would play in this game because he has a little bit more experience. But like I said, they might like what Tyler Johnson's playing. But
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to go back here to Blake. Not an odd inactive because Justin Watson, of course, responsible for that bad route versus the Saints. And on top of it, you got to give credit to where credit is due. Tyler Johnson right now is balling out. Every time Brady gets him the ball, he's making catches, especially that 20-yarder last week where he gets absolutely crushed.
Absolutely. He made a couple great grabs this season. 2 touchdowns in the end zone. He's finding his way to the end zone. So he's definitely slowly but surely picking it up week after week. I can see that. I can see that connection getting real great coming in the later half of this, the last half of the last quarter of the season coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, no. So to me, that's not a big time surprise, guys. And tell you what, really quick, because we got Blake here, we're going to go to his winning angle. So let me put you back in the lobby. Stand by, guys. And what's the winning angle about this week?
Winning angle is about the Saints and what they're going to try to do to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what the Buccaneers got to do to try to interact with that. But unfortunately for the Saints, they have to face Antonio Brown this week.
My X's and O's guy right here, Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock with his winning angle here on the Evolution Sports Talk Television, live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol, powered by 320solar.com. Here we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a Week 9 edition of the winning angle with none other than Blake Anthony, always live here on Bucs Report every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Today we'll be discussing the Week 9 matchup, Buccaneers versus Saints. Buccaneers looking for some revenge. Saints looking to solidify dominance in the NFC South Division. So let's break into the tape and see what we got. What we have here is Saints come out in their standard defense that they like to play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers since Jameis Winston was there. They like to run man across the board on third downs, and they like to lead the single safety high. What they did in the Week 1 matchup against the Buccaneers is they, as I circled there, is they doubled down on Rob Gronkowski, and then they man cover with Marshawn Lattimore on Mike Evans because Marshawn Lattimore tends to have great success against Mike Evans. But in this particular case, and most cases in that game, two guys doubled down on Rob Gronkowski and did not allow him to go out for pass routes, eliminating Tom Brady's options at passing the ball, which entails that the Saints on defense are saying that your other guys cannot beat us. Here it is, another look. They're there to stop Rob Gronkowski and let the four guys rush and get pressure on Tom Brady. Donovan Smith's going to have to look for a revenge game against Henderson, number 91, as long as longtime foe in Cameron Jordan. As this clip finishes, we'll move on to the next one. Here it is again, another third down, single safety high. What do you know? Jenkins in the middle of the field, reading none other than Tom Brady's eyes. He's looking down at Tom Brady, and he's going to shadow Tom Brady wherever he's looking to throw to a wideout, and he's going to try to jump routes. He's locked in on Tom Brady, and while all those other guys have man coverage, as we just explained earlier, and the times that Rob Gronkowski does not go out for a pass, they will send the blitzer off the edge and then drop another guy in coverage and try to get some underneath coverage and do some mixed coverages to try to fool Tom Brady into throwing another interception. He has 2 against the Saints, and look forward to seeing Tom Brady not give any turnovers against the Saints. Unfortunate for the Saints, they get to face against Antonio Brown prime time, ready, locked, and ready to go. Look for Antonio Brown to have a great game against the Saints and force the Saints to come out of this coverage and probably run some bracketed coverage towards Mike Evans and try to see if Antonio Brown can knock the rust off and beat them. But on offense, the Buccaneers are going to have to get creative. As I showed here, it's Darren Waller versus Marshawn Lattimore. Why do I show that? It's because the Raiders got creative to find ways to get Waller open against a great defender in Marshawn Lattimore. Not saying Evans has to be in the backfield, but he can run natural rub and pick routes. As you can see here, Marshawn Lattimore's caught in the traffic, knowing he has man coverage. Waller is free to release into the flats for a catch and an easy 9-yard gain. Hopefully Mike Evans or whoever else that is that gets on a pick play can get some extra yardage out of it and possibly score. I'll show you this again at another angle so you get to see better. Here it is. Comes in motion. And the reason and Waller also plays way out wide outside the numbers and comes in motion. Mike Evans could do the same. You come in here, you run the play, cause a natural pick, and it creates space for the wide receiver. Look for the Bucs to try to do that with Mike Evans and other receivers Sunday along with Antonio Brown. That's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you checking it out, and I hope you guys enjoy the game.
All right, there you go. So great breakdown, and let's go back to the guys here. We'll bring them in here. And you guys are unmuted there. Welcome back to the Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Saints as the Bucs 6-2 face the 5-2 Saints for most likely the division crown. Going back to Malcolm Jenkins playing that one safety. Once again, go ahead and explain that because we've heard from Blake Ruffino of Are You Serious Sports Network that he believes that Malcolm Jenkins isn't the same player, and that's much of the reason why this secondary is 28th in the NFL and has struggled to stop some pass catchers.
Well, it's ironic that Jenkins was drafted by the Saints in the first round many years ago as a corner and then switched to safety and then ends up probably finishes his career in New Orleans. But no, he's not his former self. He's back there to be a veteran leadership, to make sure everybody's lined up properly, and when somebody misses the coverage to get there. He's not. If you can get Jenkins in man coverage on somebody, you go to that matchup all day long. But you're going to see him in that high look. He's going to depend on those corners to win their matchups and make his job easy. For us, for Tampa Bay on offense, they're going to try to put stress on him as much as possible because that's definitely a matchup you can win in one-on-one.
All right, good stuff, guys. What do you think about that breakdown? I go back to that first week, and I kind of feel like, once again, every team was at a disadvantage, but especially the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady learning a new playbook, not having those reps in the offseason, and now getting Antonio Brown and most likely your full complement of wide receivers. This could be a different result tonight, especially if they try to do those kind of looks that they did in the first matchup, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then, like you said, they're adding Antonio Brown to this. We got Chris Godwin coming back. Even if he just plays as a decoy, just on the field and tries to create some bracketing with the Saints secondary, that's going to leave somebody open because I want to see some 4 wide receiver sets tonight. I want to see Gronk out there, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. Throw Tanner Hudson out there. Just do something different. Confuse the Saints, okay? Because right now they're what do we do with Antonio Brown? How do we cover Antonio Brown? We've never seen Antonio Brown in the Buccaneers offense. So that's going to be an advantage for the Buccaneers, and especially looking at the Saints defensively.
Well, to me, though, you want to confuse the Saints, and I always go back to the fact that we don't see this coaching DNA doesn't seem to preclude this, doesn't seem to want to show this, but you want to confuse that Saints defense who's been hearing about Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Tom Brady. Give them a $1.50 of Rojo, 2 touchdowns, and then see how confused that defense is when you're going play action connecting on 40-yard passes. But that's just me. Just me.
And you can't forget Scotty Miller, too, can take the top off the defense. I'm sure Antonio Brown's fast, too. I mean, we've heard he's been looking great in practice or whatnot. So that's 2 speedy guys that you could have out there. And, of course, you have Mike Evans. I mean, the guy, 50-50 ball champion pretty much throughout his entire career. So, as soon as the Buccaneers get in the red zone, I think that's where the Saints suffer the most. I think they're 32nd in the league or somewhere in that area of giving up touchdowns in the red zone.
Well, let me ask you this, Phil, and we talked about this. We had this debate before we went on today. Again, I mentioned this earlier in our production meeting. I don't think you'd arrived yet. Maybe you had, maybe you heard.
We kind of had some tech issues there, so it kind of froze, so we'll get back to it there. I don't want you guys to watch that, but just to update the score, Pittsburgh has come back and beat the Dallas Cowboys. A tougher game. Credit to where credit is due. They come back, but Garrett Gilbert really showed me something today. I don't know about you, playing well, and of course we're getting ready for Bucs versus the Saints, but of course the Steelers stay undefeated at 8-0. Congrats.
Yep, absolutely. As I always say, you'll hear me say it again. It ain't how you start, it's what?
How you finish.
It's how you finish.
Yep.
The Steelers came back, even with Ben Roethlisberger. Looked like he was going to go out for the game, came back, put the backup in, got 3 points.
Yep.
The guys stepped up and did what they needed to do to get that victory. And speaking of Gilbert, I'm utterly amazed that he played that well with such limited amount of time. Let me tell y'all something. When you walk onto a team that you haven't been to the entire offseason, you don't automatically know all the plays. So that playbook had to be every bit of maybe 15 plays, 20 at the max.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible for him to know the playbook, and that's such short of a notice unless he's had some type of continuity or gotten the playbook prior to that. It's amazing that he played that well under those circumstances.
And it's a great segue because Tom Brady talked about this particular subject in the Week 1 matchup versus the Saints. Let's hear about what Mr. Brady had to say about his matchup with the Saints on Sunday Night Football here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, powered by 320solar.com. Here we go.
I think there's obviously every year is a little different. I'll say that. Football is always changing. Guys come, go. Coaches come and go. The teams change. The venues change. It's just that's football. So, Week 1, we had no preseason games, so we're trying to just learn each other, learn what to do. And we played a really good opponent who plays well at home, who doesn't make mistakes. And anytime you play a good team, it's got to be great complementary football. You can't. We turned the ball over 2 times, a pick 6. This is a team that you can't make mistakes against. And when you make them, it just magnifies. So, we're trying to be that team. We're playing a team that's, been great in this division for a long time. They got a great quarterback, really well coached, got a great defense, some really talented defensive players. They score points offensively. So it's going to be a huge challenge, and we're going to have to step up and really meet the challenge.
They really do. They really have to meet that challenge on Sunday night. Absolutely. We're great here at the Deck Bar and Grill. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. Let's go out to the guys, see if they got their stuff together. They did. Let's go to that wide shot right there. You hear from Brady in those comments, and he knows that you can't commit 2 turnovers. You can't have a pick 6. And you also have to have your offensive line do a better job. 5 sacks, 8 pressures. He was under duress the whole game. You have to clean that stuff up. It goes back to the Bears game, boys. When Brady is able to have that time to throw the ball, he can find any receiver in the NFL, in the league. It doesn't matter if it's Jaden Mickens, doesn't matter if it's Scotty Miller, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
He's done it for 20 years.
Yeah, but you have to give him the time, right?
Donovan Smith, I don't think anybody here has mentioned his name.
Yeah.
You notice that? Nobody's even mentioned Donovan Smith's name. And he's the guy that everybody's going to look forward to this game to try to redeem himself. I'm really looking forward to him playing extra hard and try to redeem himself because he took a whole lot of beating as far as media, fans, and everybody week 1. And if I'm him, I'm running extra laps. I'm doing extra reps to try to prove everybody that I'm the guy that can get it done in the future.
What do you guys think?
I think we're never going to describe Donovan Smith as a high motor guy.
Well, except for that one play, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago where he came clear across the line, laid out some dude, and then
We've seen it. No, Blake, make a great point. We've seen Donovan make some of them plays this year, but I want to go back to the question that I was getting before we lost our Wi-Fi here, and that was we had this debate in our production meeting today, and again, I didn't know if you were here yet or not. I don't know where we froze up. But where are you? Obviously, we want the Bucs to do anything to win. 3-0 victory, 6-2. But where are you on the getting Mike Evans to 1,000 yards for the 7th season in a row? They'd have to average a little over 78 yards per game for the remaining 8 games. What are your feelings on that?
I mean, if you're a Bucs fan and you really cheer for this team and you've watched Mike Evans over the years get the 1,000 yards, I'm sure you're hurting right now because you really wanted to see him break that record. With Randy Moss there. But, if the team's winning, the team's winning, and that's good. And that's good for everybody. And Mike Evans has, really exemplified that in his post-game press conferences and whatnot. He said he doesn't care about how many reps or how many receptions he gets, how many yards he gets. As long as the team is winning, I think everyone would be happy.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Tom Brady's protecting his old buddy Randy Moss, who he had a little bit of luck in with New England? Conspiracy theory.
Exactly.
That's how we roll.
No, I don't think it's that. Tom Brady's just such a smart quarterback, and he's done this for 20 years. He's not going to force feed the ball like we've seen in the past with Jameis Winston, Mike Glennon, Josh McCown, and stuff like that to get Mike Evans the ball because we know Mike Evans can make a play. Tom Brady's going to take over the game. He's going to put the ball where it needs to go. He's going to play off the safety. He's going to try to get somebody else open or whatnot. But we see a lot of double teams on Mike Evans because they know how lethal Mike Evans can be, especially down the field.
And I know I sound like a broken record, guys, but this is why in middle of March, we were so happy, or March 20, when Tom Brady signs as a Buccaneer, for guys like Mickens, for guys like Tyler Johnson, for the young guys. They're going to make them go the extra, run those extra gassers, do the extra route runs, work with the jug machines because they realize they have the GOAT under center and they want to be there for him. Guys don't want to let Tom Brady down. Plus, they realize what a gift it is to be able to play with this guy. It really is a gift. And that's why we love to see the maturation of this team as we get now into the 9th week of the season.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller is a prime example. Last year didn't really see much of Scotty Miller. This year, he's making these crazy catches in the back corner of the end zones because Tom Brady's throwing the ball. So, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, good stuff, guys. Let's go back out to the webheads, read some of these comments, and then we'll get to our predictions. Really quick, though, I'm going to put you guys in the lobby because I don't want anybody to interrupt this, but I have to thank Daniela of the DSS Daniela Styling Studio. Fix me up. I mean, if you guys want to go out there and get a great haircut, great beard trim, hot towel treatment, I mean, just pampered to the max, and you want to feel like $1 million and not spend $1 million, then get out to the Daniela Styling Studio and definitely tell her that Bucs Report and Peter Blake of the Sports Web sent you. I feel good, man. I feel like $1 million, and I didn't have to pay that, and that's what it brings here. It brings that sports swag back. I feel good about that.
So you feel like the spider?
Oh, man, I feel really good, man. I get good massage, good haircut, beard trimmed all up. I mean, you got to look right. You got to look right on camera. You got to look professional. So she did a phenomenal job.
So that's going to be more dates in the future for you, right?
Hopefully.
There you have it.
All right, you're such a jerk. I gotta do this. There we go. All right, guys.
Hey, Peter, I wanted to back you up on that because we did have a comment from one of the web heads earlier, and they were making a comment about a little bit of an expense you pay for that treatment, that full treatment you get over there with Danielle. And the thing about it is that I've been, it may be, my grandfather, my father, I saw as my forefathers came about, but man, now that I am getting where I'm at, there is nothing better. Now I've yet to have a petty. I'm looking for one of those. I'm just saying I do my own thing.
That's your feet, right?
Yeah. My point is that to go get the treatment and to get the hot towel and the nice shave and the haircut, there is that feeling like you're just walking around like you're I hate to use the expression, but you're like cock of the walk. You're like a peacock. You got the flume all up. You're running around town, and it's worth that extra expense.
Yeah.
And of course, like you said, Peter, it's not that big of one. I said cock of the walk.
You know what?
I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
All right, guys. Let me go ahead and go to us here. Oh, my bad. There we go. Let's go back out to the web heads here. We'll get back to you in a moment. Let's see here. So where do we leave off? We have to shut down Thomas many times. Me, Sador, AB is fresh. No contact over a year. Justo, is Brown playing today? He is. Blake 2 squared is evil. This is Blake and Blake Sports right here. Nothing evil about it. Quan is out. Me, Sador says Justo, yes. Me, Sador, Quan is a spark plug. Very little more than that. Their cap will kill them next season. $30 million to Drew. Quan, Misador, we will see 4 wide tonight. Best virtual edits video. Mike says, howdy, y'all. 3521. Mike De Roches from Canada says, Bucs 3521. Peter, what's up? Best virtual edits video. What's going on? Wow, my bad. That's okay. Send the link to me. I'll get on video, but you would have to ask me yes or no questions because I can't speak a lot. That's okay. We'll get you on the post-game edition, Christopher Cole. No worries. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Me, Sador, Joe Haig has chemistry with the line due to being the elephant or Miami tight end. Best virtual edits video. Cardinals versus Dolphins game is good. So who's going to replace Ali Marpet? We talked about it. Joe Haig is going to be the replacement. Thank you, Jeremiah. Let's see. Me, Sador, Breeze is on the injury report due to a fallopian strain. That's a good one. I gotta fire the cannons on that one. All right. There, stand by, and we're back. All right. So Deshaun says, listen, we protect and we will be good.
Yep.
Misador says, preach. Why I love the show. Absolutely. Rick Hughes, this looks like when the good angel is on your shoulder or the little devil is on your shoulder. I'll let you decide which one it is. Jason Dahl says yes. Sitton says Bucs 38-24 over the Saints. Misador, Godwin will play well tonight. Book it. Johnson isn't slow either. Not at all. Misador says, don't jinx it. Blake Anthony Smith is still a liability. Old cement shoes better get his footwork right.
So I said extra reps.
Jimmy J. Hicks says, go Bucs. And Tim says, talking about Brady, remember, he's never lost to a division opponent twice in the same year. It's a great point.
This ain't the Dolphins.
And no, you're exactly right. You're absolutely exactly right about this. Really quick, want to go out to Brady's comments about working with Antonio Brown and what the wide receiving core has done to get him up to date for the Saints game here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Stand by.
I think all the receivers have really helped him out. Our coach, Kevin, the receiver coach, has done a great job. Quarterbacks, we got to kind of prepare for what we got to do, and then you got to leave it to the receivers to put the work in themselves. So meet early, meet late, go through practice, obviously talk through a lot of things at practice. But, I think everyone's working hard to get everyone to understand exactly how to execute what we're doing on a particular play. And again, for all of us, this is only BA's second year here. It's my first year here. There's some guys that got here with me, like Gronk, and then Shady, and then a guy like Leonard. So I think we're all still learning. We're trying to work every day to get it right. It's certainly not perfect, but we're just going to keep working on it. That's the only thing I know how to do. And the only way things get better is if you put attention on what needs to be improved, and then you work hard at improving it. And that's really what we're trying to do.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Let's bring the guys back in here. Never forget you guys as we're doing our 2-camera shot here live from the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, Best of the Bay, Cup of Ray, and, of course, our editor-in-chief, Mr. Philip Schwagler. So let's get out to the predictions. I'm going to go to the guys first, and then we'll end off with us. How do you see this game? Bucs versus the Saints on Sunday Night Football. Who wins and why?
Hey, before we go to predictions, don't forget this is Military Appreciation Month, all right?
Yes, brother.
Around the NFL, they're
Thank
doing
you
a
for
lot
your
of
service,
things.
brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But the guys that are overseas right now, we appreciate you. Hope you guys are staying safe. You guys are Bucs fan. Hope you get to watch the game and enjoy it. But anyways, to my predictions. All right, the point spread is what? 3 points right now, right? So
Yes.
we know it's going to be a close game. I think the over is about 50, maybe 50. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to say Buccaneers 30, Saints 24.
I was wondering if you were going to go over or under. You could have said 21, right? And now I want to go ahead and apologize. And if I'm wrong, I call myself out. It happens so rarely.
All the time.
All the time. Bucs will be 7-2 after they win tonight. They beat the Saints by the score of 27-23. They covered that 4-point spread barely, but it's actually moved down to 3. So the Buccaneers don't cover that 3-point spread. Yeah, they do. They win 27-23.
All right, good stuff, guys. Let me go out to Blake Anthony there. I'll mute you real quick. Blake Anthony, how do you see this game? Bucs versus Saints. Who wins and why?
I want to say 28-17 Buccaneers.
Okay. You sound very excited about that.
No, I was just thinking about it.
Can you get excited about this?
Thinking about it.
Can you get excited about this? Come on.
And then why? I think Drew Brees' shoulder ends up playing a factor later on in this game and ends up changing the complexity of it. I think they'll have to go to Latavius Murray a little bit and try to pound the ball a little bit because he won't be able to get the ball out to Alvin Kamara. But I'm thinking 28-17 this game.
All right, there you go. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game versus the Saints, and this is why. This is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, you spend all that money in the offseason to get a Tom Brady, to get a Rob Gronkowski, to get a Leonard Fournette, to pick up an Antonio Brown. It's now or never for this team. The defense will step up tonight. They will show everybody that Drew Brees is past his prime. Bucs win 31-20 over the New Orleans Saints to go to 7-2, and they will be the talk tomorrow on national radio, national television of being the best team in the NFC. Book it. For the great Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, for Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy of Cup of Ray, Best of the Bay, for our editor-in-chief, Philip Schwagler, I'm your host, Peter Blake. Enjoy the game.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
Slide. Doesn't mean it isn't pulling on my heart till it's almost white. 'Cause I wanna let you feel strong.
The reality of the situation is you add Antonio Brown to the mix. He's better than all of them. He's better than all of them. And then you got Brady flat out balling.
I know I have a great opportunity here with him, with BA, and this organization, this team. So
Get play! Get play, man! Let's go, baby!
Let's be great. Hold one another accountable. Play for one another.
On second down and 10, Brady drops. Protection goes the deep ball toward the quarter end zone. Scotty Miller in it. It's got the ball. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.